I wipe down the last display pedestal, my back aching from a full day of rearranging the gallery's new sculpture exhibition. It's 7 at night, and I've been here since 8 this morning, managing deliveries, coordinating with artists, handling sales calls, and smoothing ruffled collector egos. Just another day at Marcus Shaw Gallery, where my husband's name shines in elegant gold letters on the front window. Upstairs in our kitchen, I've been marinating the lamb since this morning, stealing moments between client calls to check on it. Marcus's favorite, herb-crusted rack of lamb with rosemary roasted potatoes and haricots. The kind of meal that requires attention to detail, timing, and patience, just like running his gallery. The lamb is resting now, perfectly medium rare. I've opened the bottle of Bordeaux an hour ago to let it breathe, just the way he likes it. The table is set properly, crisp white linens, the good china, polished silverware, crystal wine glasses. Fresh flowers in the centerpiece. Everything perfect, everything just so. I check my reflection in the window. I've even managed to change out of my gallery clothes into the blue dress he bought me last Christmas. My hair is swept up, a few strands escaping after the long day, but overall, I look presentable. Not as polished as the collectors' wives who float through the gallery, but trying my best. When I hear his key in the lock, my heart lifts. It's been a week of missed dinners and late nights, but tonight we'll have time together. Emma, darling, Marcus breezes in, still wearing his perfectly tailored suit, looking as fresh as he did this morning. He kisses my cheek, then stops, noticing the table. Oh, you cooked? The way he says it makes my stomach clench. Your favorite, I say, trying to keep my voice light. I thought, since it's been such a busy week, the Hendersons just called, he interrupts, already pulling out his phone. They want to discuss acquiring the new Morrison piece. Dinner meeting at Le Cirque. My hand tightens on the wine bottle I'm holding. But I've been cooking all afternoon. You should eat, he says, already checking his reflection in the hallway mirror. Then get some painting done. You've been talking about finishing that new piece for weeks. I thought maybe we could look at it together, I say quietly. I think it's my best work yet. He straightens his tie. Soon, darling, but you know how important the Hendersons are. They're our biggest collectors. He glances at the elaborate table setting, the perfectly plated food. Just leave all this for now. I'll help clean up when I get home. We both know he won't. He'll be home late, slightly drunk on expensive wine, and I'll have already wrapped up the untouched lamb, washed the dishes, blown out the candles I'd lit with such hope. Of course, I say. Good luck with the Hendersons. Another cheek kiss and he's gone, leaving behind the scent of his expensive cologne and the cooling dinner I spent hours preparing. I stand in our kitchen, looking at the table set for two. The lamb will keep, I suppose. Maybe I can reheat it tomorrow, though it won't be the same. Marcus probably won't notice the difference anyway. I pour myself a glass of the Bordeaux and take a single bite of the lamb. It's perfect, or it would have been. Just like the evening I'd planned. I finish my glass while loading the dishwasher, wiping down the counters, blowing out the candles that burned for no one. In my studio, really just the converted second bedroom, barely big enough for an easel and my supplies, my latest piece waits. I've been working on it for weeks, stealing hours in the middle of the night, painting through exhaustion. It's different from my usual work, stronger, more confident. A woman stands in an art gallery, but she's painted as if she's underwater. Everything around her fluid and distorted. The gallery lights above her ripple like sun through waves. The artwork on the walls bleeds and swirls. Only the woman is solid, real, her hands pressed against an invisible barrier, her face turned away from the viewer. I've painted her hair the color of dried blood, her dress the deep green of ocean depths. I step back, brush poised. 1 more hour, maybe 2, and it will be finished. My best work yet. Surely this time someone will like my work. But I already know what Marcus will say. It's interesting, darling, but not quite gallery ready. The market is looking for something more conventional. Keep working at it. My phone buzzes. Marcus, still with the Hendersons, ordering more champagne. Don't wait up. I work until my vision blurs, until the brush feels too heavy in my hand, until the woman in my painting seems to be looking back at me through the painted water, asking questions I'm too tired to answer. By the time I clean my brushes and put away my supplies, it's nearly 3 a.m. Marcus isn't home yet. The other side of our bed remains pristine, untouched. I set my alarm for 6 a.m., Someone has to open the gallery, process the new shipment, prepare for the morning's client meetings. As I drift off, I think about the woman in my painting, trapped behind invisible walls in a gallery full of other people's art. In my half-conscious state, I wonder if she's trying to break free or if, like me, she's just trying to be seen. The alarm will ring too soon. Another day of hanging other artists' work, celebrating other people's visions, watching Marcus charm collectors into six-figure sales. Another day of being told I'm not quite ready, not quite good enough, not quite what the market wants. The front door opens downstairs, Marcus home at last, stumbling slightly. He won't come to bed yet. He'll pour himself a nightcap first, make a few international calls to collectors in different time zones. By the time he slides between the sheets, it will be almost time for my alarm. I turn away from his empty side of the bed and close my eyes, trying not to think about the lamb growing cold in the refrigerator, or the painting drying in my studio, or the long day ahead. Sleep comes slowly, and when it does, I dream of drowning women in art galleries, their hands pressed against glass that no one else can see. The email arrives on a Tuesday morning just after I've finished arranging the new sculpture installation. Dear Mr. Shaw, I'm hoping you can help me contact AP Morrison directly. I understand you represent their work exclusively. I'm particularly interested in acquiring pieces from the Submergent series. I frown at my screen. In 3 years of managing the gallery's communications, I've never heard of AP Morrison. The collector's name, though, Richard Chen, I recognize. He's bought millions in contemporary art over the last decade. I draft a polite response. Thank you for your interest. Could you please send images of the specific pieces you're inquiring about? I'll be happy to assist in reaching the artist. His reply comes within minutes, with several attachments. The first image loads and my coffee cup slips from my fingers, shattering on the gallery's polished concrete floor, but I barely hear it break. Because I'm staring at my underwater woman, my gallery piece, the one drying in my studio upstairs. Except, this is the one I finished 3 months ago, the first in the series, the one Marcus said he'd try to place with other galleries, the one he took away, along with all my other finished pieces, telling me he'd work his connections. But the signature in the corner isn't my small, careful E. Instead, there's an elaborate APM worked into the waves. More images load, my heart pounds harder with each one. The woman in the red dress reaching for floating books. The sisters sleeping in their underwater bedroom. The dancer in the flooding theater. All my paintings, all my women drowning in ordinary spaces, all signed APM. These pieces currently command between $200,000 and $350,000. Chen's email continues. I'm prepared to offer significantly more for the right work. The numbers blur before my eyes. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely click through the gallery's financial software, but I have to know, have to see. Sales records, invoices, wire transfers. AP Morrison? AP Morrison. AP Morrison. 32 paintings sold over the last 2 years. Nearly $6 million in sales. My paintings. The room spins. I grip the desk, remembering Marcus's voice. Not quite ready for gallery representation. The market isn't interested in this style right now. Keep working, darling, you'll get there someday. All while he was selling my work under a false name, all while I was working 60-hour weeks managing his gallery for no salary because we're building our future together and money would complicate our professional relationship. All while I was eating grocery store sushi for lunch because I couldn't afford better, watching him take collectors to Michelin-starred restaurants with money earned from my art. The betrayal rises in my throat like bile. Every dismissive comment about my work, every constructive criticism that left me doubting myself, every time he took a finished painting away, promising to see what he could do with it. My phone buzzes. Marcus, lunch meeting with the Hendersons again, don't wait up. I look around the gallery, my gallery really, since I'm the one who runs it day to day, at the walls where my work has hung under another name, selling for small fortunes while I scraped by on his generous allowance. The rage builds slowly, methodically, like paint layers building depth and shadow. But unlike my paintings, this won't be signed with a small, uncertain E. This time, I'm signing my full name. And Marcus is about to learn exactly how much that signature is worth. My hands have stopped shaking. Now they move with surgical precision as I photograph every sales record, every invoice, every bank transfer. 3 years of managing the gallery's books means I know exactly where to look, what to document. Marcus never bothered learning the financial software. That was my department. How convenient for me. I create a secure cloud account under a new email address, uploading everything. Then I start on my own documentation. Every sketchbook dating back 3 years. Each one filled with preliminary drawings for paintings that would later sell for hundreds of thousands under A.P. Morrison's name. My phone becomes a time machine, photos of works in progress, selfies in my studio with half-finished paintings in the background, all with metadata intact, proving dates, times, locations, every image, a nail in Marcus's coffin. But the real gold mine is in my old laptop. Every email where Marcus asks to borrow a finished piece for a potential buyer, every text message about storing my work until the right opportunity comes along. I'm photographing my latest sketchbook when I hear the gallery's front door open. Marcus's laugh echoes up the stairs, followed by James's deeper voice. I'm about to call out when I hear my name. Is Emma here? James asks. Should be upstairs painting, Marcus replies. Emma? Darling? I start to respond automatically, 3 years of answering his call like a trained pet, but something stops me. Maybe it's the tone in James's voice, or maybe it's the weight of all I've discovered today still pressing on my chest. Their footsteps move through the gallery below. I slip into the storage closet just as they climb the stairs, leaving my phone recording on the desk. You must be out, Marcus says, checking the apartment. Good. We need to talk about this Morrison situation. Through the slats in the closet door, I watch my husband sink into his favorite armchair while James paces. Chan's getting suspicious, James says. He's been asking questions. What if he finds out? Relax. Marcus swirls his scotch, the expensive kind he says we can't afford to buy regularly. Emma has no idea. She still thinks her work isn't good enough to show. It's brilliant, actually, James laughs, but there's an edge to it. Using your own wife's work, and she just hands them over? She's so desperate for approval she doesn't even question it anymore. Marcus's voice holds something I've never heard before, contempt. I just tell her they're going into storage and she believes me. Meanwhile, H.P. Morrison becomes more mysterious and desirable with every sale. My hands press against my mouth, stifling a sob. The storage closet suddenly feels too small, too dark, too much like being buried alive. But what if she finds out? James persists. She's not stupid, Marcus. No, but she's in love. Marcus laughs, the same laugh that used to make my heart skip, now making my stomach turn. She's so pathetically grateful for any crumb of approval. You should see her face when I tell her to keep working at it, like a puppy begging for treats. I slide down the closet wall, my legs no longer able to hold me. 3 years of marriage, 3 years of love and trust and hope reduced to this. My husband mocking me while drinking scotch bought with money from my stolen art. He actually cooked lamb the other night, Marcus continues. Spent hours on it, probably. Like she thinks playing house will make up for her lack of success. Meanwhile, I just sold her latest piece for $300,000. The Underwater Woman? James asks. That's her best work yet. It's all her work, James, every single Morrison piece, and she has no idea how good she really is, as long as I keep telling her she's not ready. Their voices move toward the stairs, continuing their conversation, but I can't hear them over the roaring in my ears. I stay in the closet long after they leave, surrounded by art supplies I bought with my allowance while my work sold for millions. Every dismissive comment, every gentle criticism, every time he told me I wasn't ready, all of it rewriting itself in my memory. The worst part isn't the money, it's not even the lies, it's remembering how I'd watch him sleep, marveling at how lucky I was to have someone who believed in me, how I'd paint through the night hoping to make him proud, how I'd tell myself that his approval meant more than success. I loved him, God help me, I still love him, and that makes me angrier than anything else. When I finally emerge from the closet, my face is wet, but my eyes are dry. On my phone, the recording has captured everything. Every word, every laugh, every betrayal. I look at our wedding photo on the wall, me beaming up at him, so sure of our future. The woman in that photo is dead now, drowned in lies and scotch and contempt. But the woman emerging from her ashes, she's ready to paint her masterpiece. And this time she's signing her own name. You need to eat something, Kate says, pushing the untouched sandwich closer to me. We're at our usual cafe 3 blocks from the gallery, but food is the last thing on my mind. I can't, I whisper, my hands shaking as I pull out my phone. Just listen to this first. Kate has been my best friend since college, long before Marcus, before the gallery, before everything fell apart. She leans in as I press play, her face darkening as Marcus's voice fills the space between us. She's so desperate for approval she doesn't even question it anymore. I watch her knuckles whiten around her coffee cup as the recording continues. When it reaches Marcus's laugh, that terrible, contemptuous laugh about the lamb dinner, Kate's free hand finds mine across the table. That son of a bitch, she breathes when the recording ends. That absolute son of a bitch. $6 million, Kate. My voice breaks. He's made $6 million from my work, while I've been buying thrift shop clothes and feeling guilty about ordering takeout. Show me everything. I pull out my laptop, hands steadier now as I show her the sales records, the doctored signatures, the bank transfers, each piece of evidence carefully documented, each betrayal laid bare in pixels and data. Look at these prices, Kate says, scrolling through the sales records. $300,000 for your latest piece? Emma, do you realize what this means? You're not just good, you're brilliant. You're the toast of the art world, and this bastard has been gaslighting you into thinking you're not ready? I loved him, I whisper, and the tears I've been holding back finally spill over. God, I still love him. How stupid is that? It's not stupid, Kate squeezes my hand. But it's over, you know that, right? The man you loved doesn't exist, never did. She's right, the Marcus I loved was a fiction, as carefully crafted as A.P. Morrison. I can't let him do this to someone else, I say, wiping my eyes. The way he talks about me, Kate, like I'm some pathetic creature he has to manage. He'll do it again, find another artist, another wife, another victim to manipulate. Then we stop him, Kate's voice is steel. You have the evidence, you have the talent. Most importantly, you have something he never expected you to find, your worth. I don't want to just expose him, I say slowly, an idea taking shape. I want him to feel what it's like, to be helpless, to be dependent, to watch everything he built crumble while someone else takes the credit. Kate leans forward, a dangerous smile spreading across her face. Now you're talking, and I think I know exactly how to do it. I'm listening. You're not just going to expose him, Emma, you're going to make him pay. Every penny he made from your work, every moment of doubt he planted in your mind, every dismissive comment about your talent, he's going to pay for all of it. For the first time since discovering Marcus's betrayal, I feel something other than pain, something that feels a lot like power. He always said I wasn't ready for the art world, I say, closing my laptop. Time to show him just how ready I am. Kate raises her coffee cup in a toast to making Marcus Shaw wish he'd never heard of A.P. Morrison. I clink my cup against hers and we begin to plan. By the time we leave the cafe, my sandwich remains untouched, but I'm finally hungry. For justice, for revenge, for the recognition that Marcus stole from me. He wanted to keep me small, keep me grateful for crumbs. Instead, he's created his own destruction, because the woman he tried to diminish, she's about to become his worst nightmare. For 3 months, I perfect the art of deception. Marcus taught me well, though he doesn't know it. I just don't feel inspired lately, I tell him, curled on the couch with a book instead of in my studio. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. I watch concern flicker across his face, quickly masked with sympathy. No new paintings means no new A.P. Morrison pieces to sell. But he can't push too hard without revealing why he's so invested in my work. Darling, he says carefully, perhaps you just need a break. What he doesn't know is that I'm painting more than ever. While he's at lunch meetings and charity events, I'm at Kate's house, her spare room transformed into my secret studio. The walls are lined with my new series. 12 pieces, larger and more ambitious than anything I've done before. Women emerging from water instead of drowning in it, breaking through surfaces, shattering glass, claiming space. My hands don't shake anymore when I sign them my real name, bold and clear. "You're different," Kate says one afternoon watching me work. "Stronger." "Anger is clarifying," I reply, adding the final brushstroke to a woman rising from a flooded gallery, her face finally turned toward the viewer. My face. At the gallery, I'm quietly orchestrating Marcus's downfall. Each invitation I send, to critics, collectors, museum curators, is a brick in the wall that will soon collapse around him. The letterpress invitations are cream cardstock with gold foil. The wine selection, impeccable. The catering, exquisite. "Another charity event?" Marcus asks absently when he sees me reviewing seating charts. "Just keeping busy since I'm not painting," I reply. He doesn't even look at the papers on my desk. Why would he? I'm just his dutiful wife, handling the mundane details while he builds his empire on my stolen talent. The RSVPs pile up in a separate email account, critics from every major art publication, collectors flying in from Europe and Asia, gallery owners, museum curators, auction house representatives, none of them knowing they're about to witness the exposure of the art world's biggest fraud. Marcus grows increasingly agitated as weeks pass without new work from me. I catch him checking my studio at night, frowning at the dust gathering on my easel. "Are you sure you don't want to try painting again?" he asks over dinner. "Just for yourself?" "I'm focusing on other things," I say, watching him struggle to hide his frustration. If he only knew that other things meant planning his complete destruction. The night before the exhibition, I lie awake beside him, listening to his peaceful breathing. He has no idea that tomorrow is the last time he'll sleep in this bed, the last time he'll wake up as the successful Marcus Shaw. He doesn't even know there is a tomorrow to dread. "I love you," he murmurs sleepily, pulling me closer. "I know," I reply, thinking of the woman in my latest painting, her face finally visible, her hands no longer pressed against glass but breaking through it. I know he doesn't really love me. He loves the money I make for him. Well, no more. The gallery gleams under perfect lighting, my new works commanding every wall. I'm already there when Marcus arrives, earlier than usual for once, stopping dead in the doorway. "This is my best showing yet." "Emma?" His voice cracks. What is this?" "My exhibition," I say simply, adjusting the height of a painting, a woman emerging from a flooded gallery, face forward, defiant. "Do you like the works? I've been so busy organizing them." "By us." "These are..." He stops, color draining from his face as he sees my signature, bold and clear on each canvas. Before he can process further, the first guests arrive. Richard Chen, the collector whose email started all this, steps in with his wife. Marcus's practiced charm snaps back into place, but I see the tremor in his hands as he reaches for a handshake. The handshake, "Extraordinary work," Chen says, but he's looking at me, not Marcus. "The technique is exquisite." More guests flood in. Critics cluster around each piece, murmuring about the evolution of style. I catch fragments of their conversations, reminiscent of Morrison's later works, and same underwater motif. Marcus works the room with increasing desperation. I watch him knock back 2 glasses of champagne in quick succession, his eyes darting between my paintings and the doors, as if planning an escape route. Kate appears at my elbow as Marcus downs his 3rd glass of champagne, his forehead shining under the gallery lights. She slides her arm through mine, a gesture we've shared since college, through breakups and breakthroughs, and now, revenge. "Look at him squirm," she whispers, passing me a fresh glass of champagne. "He keeps looking at your signatures like they might magically transform into his precious AP Morrisons." I watch Marcus fumble through another explanation to a prominent critic, his usual smooth charm fracturing. When Richard Chen pointedly asks about the striking similarities to Morrison's work, Marcus nearly drops his glass. "You okay?" Kate squeezes my arm. We can still call this off. No, I say, my voice stronger than I feel. He stole 3 years of my life, my work, my confidence. He made me doubt everything about myself. I want him to feel that same doubt, even if just for these few minutes before everything falls apart. That's my girl. Kate's voice catches slightly. God, I've missed this version of you, the real you, the one he tried so hard to dim. She straightens my dress collar, a gesture so sisterly it almost breaks my composure. Ready to bring the house down? I watch Marcus loosen his tie, his eyes darting between the exits as more guests crowd around my paintings. Almost, I say, gripping my champagne glass. Let him sweat a little longer. Take your time, Kate grins. After all, he taught you everything you know about building suspense in the art world. We share a quiet laugh, and for the first time tonight, I feel absolutely certain about what I'm about to do. With my best friend beside me and my true name finally on display, I'm ready to step into the light. Marcus, I hear him tell a museum curator, my wife has been developing her style privately, learning from various influences. His voice trails off as he notices me, ascending the small platform we use for announcements. The room quiets. Thank you all for coming, I begin, raising my glass. I'd like to propose a toast to my husband, Marcus Shaw. He relaxes slightly, that familiar smug smile starting to form. Marcus has taught me so much about the art world, I continue. About value, about authenticity, about attribution. My eyes lock with his. In fact, I've prepared a small presentation about my husband's contribution to the art world. The lights dim, the projection screen lowers. "Oh," I hear Marcus whisper. The first slide appears, my signature next to A.P. Morrison's. Then sales records, bank transfers. Then the video begins, time-lapse recordings of me creating each Morrison piece, dated and time-stamped. Finally, Marcus's own voice fills the gallery. Emma has no idea. She still thinks her work isn't good enough to show. The room erupts in whispers. Chen steps away from Marcus as if he's contagious. A critic I recognize from Artforum is already typing furiously on her phone. For those wondering about authentication, I continue over the growing murmur. You'll find detailed documentation in your press packets. Every sketch, every preliminary study, every stage of creation, all verified by independent experts. Marcus lunges for the platform. Emma, stop this. I particularly draw your attention, I speak over him, my voice steady, to the financial records showing that A.P. Morrison's entire body of work that has sold for over $6 million, was created by me, in that studio upstairs, while I was told I wasn't good enough for gallery representation by my own gallery owner husband. The whispers become a roar. Critics corner Marcus, demanding explanations. Collectors pull out phones, presumably calling lawyers. Chen's wife is photographing every painting signature, both old and new. You've ruined everything, Marcus hisses, finally reaching me. Do you have any idea what you've done? I look at him, really look at him, for the first time since discovering his betrayal. His perfect suit suddenly seems cheap, his handsome face revealed as a mask. I have done exactly what you taught me to do, I reply. I've shown my work to the right people, I've established my value in the market. I smile, and he steps back. I've just decided to do it under my own name. The critics swarm me with questions. The collectors want to discuss acquiring my new works, under my real signature this time. Through it all, I watch Marcus retreat toward the door, his empire crumbling with each step. Oh, and Marcus? I call after him. He turns, and for a moment, I see the man I thought I married. The lamb was perfectly cooked that night, you just weren't worth the effort. He disappears into the night as cameras flash and reporters arrive. Tomorrow, the art world will have a new scandal to discuss, but tonight, surrounded by my work, my name finally on full display, I raise a glass to the woman in my paintings. She's not drowning anymore. She's already risen. 6 months after the exhibition that shook the art world, I stand in my gallery, legally and rightfully mine, after Marcus's spectacular downfall. The divorce was quick, he knew better than to fight, given the evidence. The art fraud investigation left Marcus with nothing to bargain with, and his reputation in tatters. Art News called it the art world scandal of the decade. The New York Times ran a feature, The Woman Behind Morrison, how one artist reclaimed her name. Galleries that once dismissed my inquiries now beg to show my work, but I don't need them anymore. Today, I'm opening the new wing of the gallery. The sign above the entrance reads, Emergence, supporting women in art. Kate stands beside me as we prepare to cut the ribbon, both of us remembering late nights planning this moment in her spare room studio. If you'd told me a year ago I'd be standing here, I say, adjusting the scissors in my hand. I knew, Kate interrupts, even when you didn't, even when he had you convinced you were nothing without him. The crowd gathered for the opening includes familiar faces, Richard Chen and his wife, now my most loyal collectors, art critics who've written thoughtful pieces about gender bias in the industry, young female artists who will be the first to show in this new space. After the speeches and the applause, after the champagne and congratulations, I lead a private tour to one final piece. It hangs alone in my office, the last painting I created after everything fell apart. A man sits in a gallery, surrounded by paintings he can't claim. The walls around him form a cage of brushstrokes, each bar created from a different woman's signature. In the foreground, a stack of money burns, the smoke forming the words, A.P. Morrison, as it dissipates. The man's face is turned away, but everyone knows who it is. The nameplate beneath it reads, Self-Portrait of a Fraud, by Emma Williams. Yes, I took my maiden name back. Brutal, Kate says admiringly, and brilliant. Like all the best revenge, I reply, running my finger along my signature. The late afternoon sun streams through the gallery windows, catching the gold lettering on the wall, the Emma Williams Gallery, where every artist signs their own name. Somewhere, Marcus is trying to rebuild his life, his reputation in ruins, his calls unreturned. Last I heard, he'd moved to a small town where no one knows about A.P. Morrison or the wife whose talent he tried to steal. But here, in this space he once thought he owned, women's art fills every wall, their signatures bold and proud, their voices finely heard. Every day, I meet another artist with fire in her eyes and doubt in her heart, and I tell them my story. Sign your name, I tell them. Sign it large. Sign it like you know what you're worth. And they do. Because the thing about trying to drown someone, sometimes they learn to swim, sometimes they learn to rise, and sometimes they learn to create tsunamis that wash away everything you built on their silence. I straighten the nameplate one last time before leaving my office. Tomorrow, another artist will bring her work, seeking representation. She'll see my name on the door and know she's safe here, know that her work will be her own. That's worth more than all the Morrison paintings combined. That's worth everything.
Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the story, hit subscribe so you never miss a new tale. Your support means the world. See you in the next chapter.